Welcome everybody for jumping on here. We have got one of the best of the best. We're just honored to have somebody who's been doing what we want to do when we grow up for many, 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 many years. Um, Bill and Kim Cook, uh, if you look at his name up there. But I think it's just Bill for the most part today. I have been warned, everybody, so I'm just going to kind of forewarn everybody. There could be some
I'm
spam
looking, I'm looking at the names. I'm looking for,
that
I
just
see
kind of
Good
pop
Success.
in
I don't
every
know who
once in a
that
while.
is.
We were just talking before. I called Bill yesterday just to kind of make sure everything was good for today, and or he called me, and I told him, I'm like, you know what screen pops up every time you call me? And I think somebody had gotten his phone and made that his new screenshot or something for when he calls people. So if you don't know that story, it's okay. We don't need to worry about telling it today. But just let's put it this way: there's some people in the community that like to embarrass Bill for some reason. I don't know why. He seems like a really nice guy. He's always been super nice to me. So I don't know why everybody likes to poke fun at Bill, but he's going to talk. I'm not even sure what he's going to talk about, but I'm telling you, this guy has more knowledge and he has forgot more things than I know in real estate. And I'm just super honored to have Bill on today. I'm going to kind of get going here. I've got a couple slides to begin with, and then I'll turn it over to Bill. So I'm going to share screen here real quick, get going. Welcome everybody to today's version of the Dealmaker Community Calls. Today we're with Bill Cook. I'm super excited about these calls. And Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but these calls are really meant, the purpose of these calls is to build community. That's kind of what we're trying to do with these calls is to build community, to educate the deal maker community, to encourage the deal maker community, and to equip the deal maker community. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Just trying to help everybody. If there's something that you guys would like from these calls, let us know. I am super excited about today's call. Don't get me wrong. But if you missed last month's call with Andy, go back and watch. You guys can find that there. Today is going to be Bill. I have next month coming on light later, so I'll wait for that. I jumped the gun there. I thought that the next slide was right there. But the next slide is actually the next month in June, we're doing a small dollar IRA panel. And I'm really excited about that call as well. If you are here in the Dealmaker community, I do want to let you guys know about some discounts that are available to you guys through Sherwin-Williams and through Lowe's. I was just talking to an investor who's been an investor for 30, 40, he honestly, maybe even 50 years yesterday. And he was trying to get signed up with our Sherwin-Williams discount because I'm telling you guys, this is the best discount in the country on Sherwin-Williams paint. It's better service, it's better paint. Just trust me, get the Sherwin-Williams thing, make it happen. Same thing with Lowe's as well. Best discount you're going to get with Lowe's for the deal maker is to order online. So I just want to remember that. And then I also want to remind you guys that me and Jim talked to our national rep a couple of weeks ago. And you got to make sure that you put all of your credit cards on file in your Lowe's account. So if you don't know what that means, just get with me later. My information's on here. If not, find me on Facebook and I can help you guys with that as well. If you're not already a part of the Dealmaker paint program with Sherwin-Williams, take a picture of this. This is all you need to know. Everything that you need to know is on the sheet. And then same thing with Lowe's. If you're not signed up, everything that you need to know is on this sheet. If you want to take a screenshot of that or this sheet right here. So the GPO code is Dealmaker or E5C4D6C0D or I think it's 0D5. We've got more discounts that are coming as well, Jim. So, just get those to me as we get more of those discounts going. I know we've got a good deal with Heritage IRA, setting up free accounts as well. I just talked to him over the weekend, Derek Long, and things are going super fast. He's got some huge announcements that I won't steal his thunder on coming up in the next couple months here, but I'm excited for Derek and that. Since last month, guys, I have just had an amazing month. My daughter got inducted into the National Honor Society. My other daughter came home from college. We found out that she also got the President's Club and got almost straight A's. So super excited about that. But there are a lot of people that are on this call have helped me support our senior classes through the years to go to Guatemala, and we went on the Guatemala senior trip, and we made a quick video for everybody to watch. Just as a thanks to everybody in the community that supported us. A lot of the people have donated money for this, and I thought you guys would enjoy this.
estoy en aflicción, y solo siento el dolor. Tú siempre estás ahí, tú siempre estás ahí.
Y cuando ya no puedo más y solo siento desmayar,
Tú siempre estás ahí, tú siempre estás ahí. De mi corazón se afuera el temor. Tú siempre estás ahí, tú siempre estás ahí. Jesús, tú nunca fallas en los momentos más oscuros, tú no me desampararás cuando el camino es más duro. Fortaleza, roca eterna, mi consuelo en las pruebas. Tú siempre estás ahí. Cuando estoy en aflicción, yo solo siento el dolor. Tú siempre estás ahí, tú siempre estás ahí.
y cuando ya no puedo más y solo siento desmayar,
Tú siempre estás ahí, tú siempre estás ahí. Jesús, tú nunca fallas en los momentos más oscuros, tú no me desampararás cuando el camino es más duro. Fortaleza, roca eterna, mi consuelo en las pruebas. Tú siempre estás ahí.
Okay, sorry for ending it there so abruptly. I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to get ready because I knew it was ending there. But we had we had a great trip. Just wanted to thank everybody for supporting that. Thank you guys for that. And it was another proud father moment there. My daughter is the soloist in that group as well, and she was there with us. And they just did a great job on that song, didn't they, Jim? And they did a great job. Jim
Yeah, it was an amazing trip. I'm so glad I was there with Share the Love, and there was multiple deal makers there, actually, a bunch of us. Yvonne, who leads Orlando, was with us. Sam, who's leading the Panhandle of Florida, was with us. Augie, it was great to be with you and Audrey. And Cheryl and I had an amazing trip to Guatemala. Augie, I'll be honest, like I was really feeling I should have been in Mexico with you last weekend. Welcome home, my friend. I know you're ready to go to Kenya in a couple weeks.
Yep.
So maybe you want to put a link in the chat with the distributions coming up, Augie, and people can sign up.
Sure.
I'm looking for another one. What should I go on next, Augie?
Come with me to Uganda. It's in like 3 weeks.
I can't pull that one off. What else is coming up?
Okay, well, we're going to be doing Belize in December, and I think I just worked out a deal with Oscar to do Oaxaca, Mexico.
Oh, now that's a big
November,
one. I'd love to do
in
that
early
one.
November, which I think would be good timing for everybody.
Yeah.
The cruises are over. The other events, I think, are behind us from October and September. And
Okay.
so I'm looking at, I think, November 7th to like the 13th. It'll probably be like 6 days. We'll probably do 2, possibly 3 distributions. There are some amazing things to see in Oaxaca, not to mention the food is quite exceptional. It's
Hey,
different from Mexican. It's not like the rest of the food in Mexico. Not that Mexican food is bad because it's all great, but it's just a different style of cooking.
some good ones coming up. I can't wait. So thanks.
So get on that,
So,
guys.
I'm going to sign up
Augie,
for another one.
yeah, Aug, if you could put those things in the chat, I'd appreciate it. And then personally send me Belize and that November one, Aug, if you get a chance as well. I'd do.
I will do. Yeah, I'll put the page where everybody can just click and it'll take them to the trips that are coming up.
Good.
And, yeah, now we're getting ready to start planning for 2026.
You got
Love it. Let's do it.
Lots of
So
good
again,
stuff.
the deal maker community's been a part of a lot of the Share the Love stuff. They've also helped the seniors with this, and we got to put those two together during this last
That's
trip.
great.
It was just an amazing thing, and I don't have another better way to tell people why I do what I do than to show them this is why I do what I do. It's I don't run what I run. I don't do what I do because I want to flip another house. I do this so I can invest in eternity with this. I appreciate everybody else for
Yeah.
that has helped in that community and that understands that. Upcoming, we've got Jerry, Ricky, and Sam is doing this cruise in October. I always want to let people know about those events. And if you're on these calls and you have events, and Augie, I probably should have a slide just for Share the Love on here. If you want to get me a good slide, I can probably throw those up here for everybody each month.
Sure.
Sunrisers every single Saturday morning, guys.
Friday morning.
I'm telling you, such a good thing. You should just put it on your calendar every week. Just have the link ready. If you can't be on Zoom, she also does it live on Facebook, which is where I try to join most of the time because it's right when I'm taking my kids to school in the morning. But it's a really good group and a good group to be a part of as well. We are running a special, guys, on Dealmaker Gary for the next 2 weeks. This is the best price you're going to be able to get in for forever, honestly. We are doing a $50 off for the next 2 weeks, and in June 1st, it's going up $100. So this is the best price you guys are going to get. So if you guys are going to get your tickets, and you guys want the best price you can get them now. And then also, I've got the October Dealmaker Become Limitless private lending capital, private capital event in Dallas. Jim Ingersoll's putting that on. And I'm going to be a part of that. Jeff Watson will be a part of that. Lots of other people are going to be a part of that. I'm excited for that as well. So make sure you guys put that on your calendars and get those tickets purchased as well. This is the slide I was talking about. I thought was at the beginning of my presentation. Next month, Jim Ingersoll, Rich Lennon, Kevin Femley, Reggie Reg, and Jeff Watson are doing a whole hour specifically on ideas and things that they've done that's worked for them for small dollar IRAs. This
Hey,
call
can we also add in Chuck Glover? Chuck, will you join us too?
absolutely.
Because wraps is a lot of us are doing wraps.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all I've done is wraps. I've done about 100 wraps in my small dollar accounts over the last 8-9
Chuck's
years.
in too. Good.
And
Fun.
that's the only thing I know what to tell people as far as how to do those
So Chuck
short-term
might
hard
be
money
happy.
lending wraps.
I have some other ideas. I mean, options that we're talking about today is incredibly powerful.
Yes. So I'm excited about this call as well. Put this on your calendars. I know it's in the middle of the summer, but it'll be a really good call. I promise you guys. All right. Without further ado, Bill, you ready, sir? I'm going to leave.
Yep, let me share
the floor. I'm going to give you the screen.
Let me share my screen.
Yes, sir.
And
Bill, it is so nice to have you with us today. Thanks for being such a giver and a wonderful person who's helped so many.
Amen.
well, I appreciate it, Jim, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. And
You and Kim are-
to talk about Augie for a minute. You know, when we were on the cruise
Yeah.
and we were about to do the auction, Augie showed me a picture of a young man who had no feet, and Augie's group had gone to the town next door and donated wheelchairs, and someone from that town donated a wheelchair to another town to this young man who had no feet. And I looked at that and it touched me deeply because I thought this young man's best day he's ever had in his life is worse than the worst day I've ever had in my life. And when you look at the juxtaposition of that, I really appreciate the things that you are doing and what Augie does. I think it goes a long way. And it's funny that y'all were in Guatemala. I don't know if y'all know this, but part of the places where I was raised was Guatemala. I was born in Barranquilla, then we lived in a little place called Ticasati, Guatemala, for about a year or so. Anyway,
I have
pretty neat.
no idea.
Did
So let's
not
get
know that.
yeah, let's get started. So and you heard Tom say this, that my wife and I are a husband and wife team. So as you hear me use the word I, and I shouldn't, we do this together. If either one of us doesn't want to do doesn't like a deal that's being done, we don't do the deal. We have to both agree 100% before we move forward. She's a really great deal maker. She's a great door knocker. She knows her stuff. So just don't think that it's just me up here, because most certainly is not. And the other thing is that Kim and I are just mom and pop investors. We did 10 to maybe 15 deals a year, more like 13 deals a year. We did it for about 20 years and kept a lot of our properties, the good properties we kept, and paid them off. And we have a mobile home park. We do lending, do a lot of wrapping, as you heard. So that meeting next month is going to be great. And do a lot of option work. So let's get into it. I get a lot of phone calls from investors, and again, during this call, if you have a question, I want you to unmute. I can't see you raise your hand, so just unmute and ask me a question. You're welcome to stop me. But I get a lot of calls from investors, and they're failing. They're not making it. They've taken some big course or something, whatever it is they're doing, and they're not making it. So I get a phone call, and I can ask an investor two questions. Two questions only. I can go right to the heart of the problem. And the first question I'm going to always ask is, how many written offers have you made in the last 30 days? And the answer is almost always zero. The second question I'm going to ask is, how many written offers have you made in the last 12 months? And the answer is almost always less than 10 offers in 12 months. Again, I don't want to hear you talk to someone. You had to write down an offer and hand it to someone. And that's the main problem. If you can just increase your numbers, that will solve almost every problem, including how do I gain experience. So to succeed, we've got, as investors, we've got to make a lot of written offers on a very regular basis. So as we talk today, you're going to see examples of that in action, that Kim and I are forever making written offers and handing them to somebody. And I don't mean using a 12-page contract or a 15-page contract either. And today we'll talk a little bit about advanced creative deal structuring. The key word here is advanced. So if you're a flipper and your idea of advanced deal structuring is a 60 cent on the dollar offer minus expenses, all cash, and that's the only way you know how to do a deal, that's called a big damn hammer offer. If that's the only tool in your toolbox, that's great, but the property owner has got to want to sell, and they've got to want to move, and they've got to want to have the big discount. But if those three things aren't true, then you're not going to get the deal. And how many will you walk by? And again, you'll see examples of that today. So we're going to talk about first a pure option. And most of you have heard of lease options. So a lease gives someone use of a property, and an option gives someone the right to buy a property, pre-agreed to price, pre-agreed to terms. And so what you have there are two tools working together. You have the lease and you have the option. Each tool does something separate. It's not one tool doing two jobs. And with a pure option, it's when you're using an option all by its lonesome. There's no lease, there's nothing else involved, just the option by itself. So we're going to look at an option by itself. And this is a deal that Kim and I did last year, and Kim found this. We were up in Cartersville. I was working on some rentals, and all our rentals are in a 5-mile circle around the Cartersville, Georgia Walmart. Well, that's where they used to be. Now I have, because we've moved to Florida, we now have some rentals down here, and that number's growing. So in this case, I was working on some rentals, and Kim said, hey, listen, Bill, the foreclosures are out. Foreclosures in about 2 weeks. I'm going to go run some foreclosures. I said, okay. So Kim got the information out of the newspaper, wrote it down, and this was the third or fourth house she knocked on. And this is Kim at the door, okay? So if you think that women can't door knock, you're crazy. And if you think door knocking doesn't work, let's see. Well, let's see if that's true or not. So how the deal was found was the owner was facing foreclosure on July the 2nd, was in the paper, Kim saw this on June the 19th and then went out that day, door knocking on several homes. Again, this was the third or fourth house she knocked on that day. And this is the conversation that was had. So when we go to a house that's in foreclosure, if there's not a for sale sign in the yard, we act lost. Like, I think we're at the wrong house. You know, we were told that this house was advertised in the paper, but we don't see a for sale sign here. Can you guide me? Do you know where that house is? And almost always the person in the house, they know their house is being auctioned. They know they're in the paper. And without us bringing up the F word, they will. And that's what happened here. So Kim was just like, you know, I was told that there was a house for sale. Is this that house? I don't see a for sale sign. And the boyfriend had answered the door and he said, well, actually the house is in foreclosure and it's due to be sold in 2 weeks. And Kim was like, oh, okay, that kind of throws me off a little bit. I didn't know what that, okay, so maybe I can help. Do maybe y'all have a question about how that works or how it can be stopped? And the boyfriend looked at the owner who was on the kitchen couch or on the bed, the living room couch, and said, there's a lady out here. Do you want to talk to her? And the owner said, yeah, she didn't mind the mess. So when we walked in, this is kind of what Kim faced. This owner is a hoarder. And many of you have worked or been in hoarder houses before, and they make no sense. The belongings mean everything to them, even though there's nothing but trash. And you could not walk into any of the 3 bedrooms. There was a bunny trail going into the master bedroom where the boyfriend walked in one bunny trail and she walked in the other bunny trail to get into bed, but mainly they just slept in here because it was so crowded. Anyway, so the idea of a hoarder losing their house and having to move, what are they going to do with their stuff? Their stuff is important. And in this lady's case, her taxes, PITI, were $813 a month. And rent, this house would rent all day long for about $2,000 a month. So, and she was living on $1,400 a month Social Security. So where is she going to go? If she loses this house, where she's going to go for $813 a month? That include taxes and insurance. And the answer is nowhere. She can't go anywhere. So that was her situation. And by the way, she was getting about 60 phone calls a day because the property had hit all the lists. But guess how many investors had stopped by and knocked on her door to see if they could help? Just one until Kim got there. So a total of 2 investors over the course of a month knocked on her door. Everybody else either texted or emailed or sent a letter. Or sometimes they would tape a letter to the door in the middle of the night so nobody would be awake. And what you're looking at now is, to me, the most important tool I use as a real estate investor. And this is known as the T-bar. And it tells me the why. And people always ask, how do I know how to creatively structure a deal? And the answer is because the owner, the seller, will tell you how to structure the deal. All you got to do is ask questions, listen, and they will tell you exactly the problems you need to solve. And our job as investors is to know which tools to use that will solve these problems. And again, this is the most important tool I use. I'm always shocked more people don't use it. But if you're using a purchase and sale agreement, nowhere on there does it talk about the seller's why. Yet sometimes the why is more important than the how much. And this is a case of the why is more important than the how much. So when I talked to her, because Kim called me up and said, would you come down here? I think this would be a good option deal. And so I'm sitting talking to her and I'm filling out my T-bar. So the left-hand side is current position, right-hand side is potential position. And when I talked to her, she said, the foreclosure's in 2 weeks. In other words, she's losing her house and she can't stop it. And the thing she said over and over and over is, I don't want to move. I can't afford to live anywhere else for $813. I've fallen behind because of some bad decisions I made, but I can't afford to live anywhere else. And I said, well, the arrears were $7,600. I said, can you not get your hands on $7,600? And she could not. Her family wouldn't loan it to her. Nobody she knew would loan her the $7,600 to catch this thing up and stop the foreclosure. And I said, well, would you ever consider selling? And we talked about that for a minute. And she said, yeah, I'd like to be here for about 8 years. And probably within 8 years, I'm probably going to go move somewhere else. And so she wanted to be there for 8 years. And she kept saying, I don't want to sell right now. I want to stay here. And so as I'm talking to someone, I'm doing a T-bar, and I ask for a piece of paper at the owner's home and just say, hey, I need to make some notes. And on the right-hand side, I do an arrow to the right-hand side. So when she said foreclosures in 2 weeks, okay, I know what I have to do. I've got to stop the foreclosure. I don't want to move right now. Okay, you don't have to move right now. Left-hand side, I can't pay the arrears. Right-hand side, we'll pay the arrears. Left-hand side, I can't afford to live anywhere else. Right-hand side, you'll stay where you are and pay the monthly payment. Do you see how that works? Now all we got to do is say, okay, I've got to make the right-hand side happen. What tool works best? And if you're sitting there scratching your head going, well, I really don't know. I don't have that tool in my toolbox, especially if the only tool in your toolbox is the big damn hammer. So if you make this lady 70 cents on the dollar off its minus expenses and she has to move, do you see that this is not going to work for her? That tool is nice sometimes, but not all the time. So the owner, again, was receiving 40 to 60 offers a day, text and emails mainly. And every offer she was getting was the big damn hammer offer. And every offer she got, every single offer she got until we got there was, you have to move either before we buy the property or within 30 days, but you cannot stay here. And remember, the one thing she kept asking for was, I need to stay here. I can't afford to live anywhere else. So these offers weren't working. So here's the offer. After talking to her and doing the T-bar, this is the offer that Kim and I put together. Number one, you don't have to move. Think about how she felt when I told her that. How would you feel if it was you? You don't have to move. Next, we'll pay your arrears and stop the foreclosure. How would that make you feel? Because remember, the T-bar said these are the things that bothered her most. Next, we'll get the exclusive right to buy your house anytime in the next 30 years. So anytime in the next 30 years, we're going to set the price now. We're going to set the terms now. But anytime in the next 30 years, I get to choose when I buy your house. You don't get to choose. And it's going to be a subject to deal. And most of you know what a subject to deal is. It's just we're going to leave. We're going to buy the property when we do buy it. The seller's mortgage stays in place. We're agreeing to make the seller's mortgage payments on the seller's mortgage for the seller until that note is paid off according to the terms of the seller's note. It's a form of owner financing. It's just we're going to agree to, we're not assuming the seller's loan, seller's mortgage. We're just agreeing to make those payments for them. And we will not exercise for the first 8 years. So though I have 30 years in which to buy the property, I cannot buy it for the first 8 years unless she fails to make her mortgage payments. If she didn't take care of the property, if she doesn't have insurance, if she doesn't pay the property taxes, then I can exercise immediately. But if she does what she promises, I will not exercise for the first 8 years. And the strike price, $72,832. By the way, the fair market value of the property, $301,000. It has a single mortgage on it. One mortgage. That when we buy it, we're agreeing to make the payment so we don't have to come up with that money. Pretty neat, isn't it? But again, she's telling us how to structure. Now, all the others offers came in at $160,000. So why did the owner accept our $72,000 offer instead of one of the offers that were one of the other offers coming in at $160,000 and some of them more than that? What was it about our offer that she liked better that would cause her to sell her house to us for less than half what everybody else was offering? The answer is she didn't have to move. She didn't. We listened to her. So if all you're using is the purchase and sale agreement, nowhere in there does it ask the why or does a T-bar. So remember, sometimes the why is more important than the how much. Our job as real estate investors is not to buy, sell, or rent houses. Our job is to help people solve their real estate problems. And the only way we can solve people's real estate problems is to understand them. And the only way you can understand a problem is by getting face-to-face with them. I don't care if you door knock. I don't care if you make offers to MLS, but you have to get face-to-face. You have to see what's going on. So if I can't get face-to-face, then I'm going to do a Zoom. If I can't do a Zoom, I may do a phone call. But I'm not going to text and I'm not going to email. I lose everything in the translation. I've got to hear voice inflection. I got to see body position. I got to look at someone's eyes. Just what's going on with them. And the only way you can gain that information, the best place, is sitting at their kitchen table talking to them. And that's what we did in this case. So does it really pay to learn creative deal making? I mean, the name of this group, deal makers, right? Does it pay to learn to be a deal maker? Here are the numbers on this one. The current fair market value, and this was actually last year, $301,000. Our strike price, $72,800. So when we did this deal, we picked up like $228,000 in equity on this property. And the fair market, the rent on this property, if we had it today, it would rent for $2,200, and our mortgage payment with taxes and insurance would be $813. So we'd pick up almost $1,400 in cash flow. So is this a good deal? Is this a deal worth doing? You tell me. And what if Kim hadn't gone to the door? What if Kim hadn't knocked? What if Kim hadn't taken the time to go sit on the couch and talk to her and ask her questions and see what was going on and hear her say, I can't afford to live anywhere else. I want to stay here. I don't want to move. I love my home. What if we hadn't done that? We'd have been like all the other investors and been an also ran, just using the big damn hammer to do deals. And remember, this deal cost us a grand total of $7,620 plus holding costs. So altogether, for a little over $9,000, we now have an option secured to the property that gives us, anytime in the next 30 years, we can buy the property for $72,000. Good deal from door knocking. Any questions on that one, guys?
You guys got any questions? I know this group isn't the best at just unmuting their mic and asking questions. But just Bill's definitely easy to talk to and easy to ask questions to. So if you guys got anything.
And I put my phone number in the chat. And you God help you, if you text me to ask me when is a good time to call me, I will shoot you. Just pick up your phone and call me. If I'm busy, you'll get a voicemail. I'll call you back.
I got a couple of questions here, Bill, in the chat.
In the chat, of course. Why would not? Let's do a chat. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to speak them to you, Bill. So at least you got somebody talking. So what if the owner went into foreclosure again after you caught her up?
So every month we check and make sure that, and she agreed that she would never be late on another mortgage payment, that she was ever late on a mortgage payment. Late, not miss, late. We exercise the option immediately when we buy the property and she has to move.
There you go. And then Jesus asks, did you use a title company to secure the deal?
We in Georgia, you have to use a real estate attorney to do this. So I don't have to use an attorney to do an option, to secure an option, but I do. And I either use a deed of trust in Georgia or a mortgage in Florida. And just because I like the feel of it, yes, I always use a real estate attorney. But even in Florida, I still use a real estate attorney, not a title company.
Chuck asks, was this option recorded along with the deed, like as an attachment?
Yes. So if you look in the courthouse records, you'll see mortgage, and then on the mortgage, it'll say see attachment A for the legal description, see attachment B for the option agreement. So yes, the option agreement is in the courthouse.
So those are really good questions, guys.
Hey guys, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. You're talking to me. I love this. What's your name?
Steve Zahala, another old school
Steve.
boy. How are you?
Yes, you are, Stevie.
Hey, a couple questions. What do you do to protect yourself that this lady doesn't get a call from the window and sidings guy and gets a second mortgage for 50 grand and gets new windows and new siding and new soffits, and all of a sudden you've lost 50 grand equity?
No,
I have some ideas, but I want to hear what you think.
Wait. Did you hear me say that I secured the option? I used a mortgage or a deed of trust, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so let's say the window guy comes in and they do something stupid. Would they not be in third position?
Correct.
So how would I take control of the property? How would I acquire the property if there's a mortgage now that she went out and did behind me? First of all, they're going to do a lookup and see the first mortgage and second mortgage, and more than likely I'm going to get a phone call.
Correct.
But let's say she does, then I will foreclose from the mortgage or the deed of trust, and I'll wipe out that third.
So in the case you just demonstrated, did you put a $228,000 mortgage in place to protect your equity?
I did not. I didn't put any. There was the mortgage. A mortgage's job is to secure promises, not
Right.
notes. Now, one of the promises a mortgage will secure, a deed of trust will secure, is a promissory note. But it also will secure a purchase and sale agreement, an option agreement, or if you promise to walk your neighbor's dog every day at 12 noon on a handwritten piece of paper, a mortgage will secure that as well. And the house is the collateral for the promise.
Fair
That's
enough.
awesome.
Second question is, what percentage of times when you go knock on a door does somebody actually answer, and what do you leave if they're not there that you might have a chance to get a call back?
Let me answer that question just a minute because you'll see some slides on that.
All right.
So
Okay.
there's more questions in the chat. So this is good, guys. You guys are doing good on questions today. Appreciate it. I'm not sure how much time Bill has today, but we normally let these go as long as you guys got questions with the speakers and as long as the speakers can stay on here.
Yeah, I can go in. I do have a closing at 1:30 today on a house we're buying that we got from door knocking, by the way.
There you
Not
go.
doors that way. And we bought this house a month ago from door knocking, and you're about to see the deal that the house I'm in right now, our forever home, came from door knocking. You're about to see it. So let's talk about.
There are 2 more questions still, Bill.
Oh yeah.
And I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll let you answer. Do you put your company on the deed? Do you have the right to take any cash out of the property?
With an option?
That's the question. Yes.
The answer is no.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Now, let's say, okay, let me ask you guys something. So I have the secured option against Vaughn Road. I have the right to buy it for $72,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a $300,000 house. And I can buy it subject to the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I needed $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Would anybody make me the loan of $100,000? Let's say, 8% interest. If I gave you this option to hold as the secured option to hold as consideration, might you make that loan using the option as the collateral?
Right.
As what I'm using as security is my option agreement.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is yes.
Option at that point is the asset.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if I wanted some cash, I needed cash to go do a different deal. What would you offer me? Who in here would make me an offer to buy this option for me? I have the right to buy it anytime over 30 years, can't exercise the first 8. It's subject to a 3.3% interest, 30-year fixed rate mortgage. I can buy it for the house for 72,000. It's worth 300. Someone make me an offer on this option. You're going to acquire the option for me.
You got it. So basically what he's saying, guys, is he could either sell his option outright if he wanted to, that's an option, or he could probably even get a loan against the option.
Not probably. I've done that before. I've needed to get fast cash, and I've used one of our options. I've done this probably maybe 4 or 5 times, just to I can use it in my workbook. So I teach courses, and I want to show people me getting loans where the option is the collateral.
Gotcha. I'm not sure I understand this question, Joseph. You might have to clarify, but it says, "Hi, Bill. Did you use your own money on this or asked for a gap loan? Sorry, just logged in." I don't understand the question.
Okay, no, the question is, did I borrow the $7,600 to do this deal?
I got you.
And the answer is no, I did not. You won't believe this, and I know that my funds stay pretty empty. I happened to check the couch, and I dumped it over, and change fell out to the tune of $7,620. I got lucky. But
Bill, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Let's say I went to Thomas and I said, "Hey, Thomas, I got this really great deal. I don't have the $7,620, but Tom, if you'll put up the money, you and I will split this option. You'll be 50% owner of the option. I'll be 50% owner." Thomas, would you do that with me?
Yes, sir. I'll do it right now today. Can I?
No, wait a minute. That one's mine, Bill.
So money.
Hey, I asked the question. That's mine.
Yeah. I know.
Bill's got that one.
Y'all have Tom and Jim and Augie and Chuck on this call. So I know that you're talking about creative deal structure and creative funding a lot. Money is never the problem. Finding the really good deals, and as Pete would say, you don't find deals, you find uncomfortable situations like this one. What you do is you structure deals. That's what deal structure, that's what deal makers is all about. It's about structuring deals, putting them together, using the right tools from your creative deal structuring toolbox. That's why you want to be a member of Deal Makers.
How much is your couch?
Well, I don't know how much it is, but I will tell you it weighs about 15 pounds less than it did before I did that deal.
We could do a T-bar on the couch.
I've done many T-bars on that couch. In fact, I did a T-bar on my wife before we got married nearly 30 years ago. I kid you not, I did a T-bar.
Man, we should have a whole
family
call
show,
on just
Bill.
that.
Too many people talk what?
We should have a whole call just on that T-bar with your wife.
And that's my mother who's just now leaving. We're about to go buy her a house.
All right, you want to continue on? I think the question.
And by the way, the lady who, well, I'll get into that in a second. But just remember, the lady who just left is my mother. I'll come back to her in a second. Okay, to go back to the call, I want to share with you the most valuable tool, the most valuable real estate investing lesson I ever received in my life. And it came from Pete Fortunato. So that's Pete Fortunato. And I was doing a deal back in around 2001, 2002, and it involved 4 heirs. And I put together a beautiful offer after talking to each of the heirs. And my offer had 9 moving parts, which made it complicated. And I knew that by presenting this offer, everybody would be confused and they'd be more worried about what the other 3 heirs were getting than what they were getting, which is what they asked for in the first place. And I called up Pete and I said, I need help. Can you look at this? I need to make this a simpler offer. And he looked at it and he moved it from 9 moving parts to just 2. I presented that offer and they accepted. We bought the house and we still have that house today as one of our really best rentals. So I'm always grateful for Pete for taking time with me to help me put this deal together. But I wrote a newspaper column for 13 years that was syndicated throughout Georgia on real estate investing. And I wrote a column that week entitled Pete Fortunato, the greatest outside the box thinker, because I was told how important it was to think outside the box. We've all heard that. Think outside the box, think outside the box. And when it ran, I cut the ad out of the paper and I put it on a beautiful plaque and I sent it down to Pete as a thank you. And when Pete got the plaque, Pete Fortunato, the greatest outside the box thinker, with a column on it, he sent me back a 2-word email. 2 words. Guess what the email said?
What box?
Only Pete Fortunato, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, he has a class coming up the end of June in Tampa. Best deal maker in the whole world. You are deal makers, you should be going to the very best creative deal structuring teacher in the world, and that's Pete Fortunato. But anyway, what box? And I drove down to see him because I couldn't understand what that meant because it really bent me. And basically he said, for any of us to be the very best deal maker we can be, we have to realize there is no box. Because if you're trying to work outside of some box, you're chained to that box. You're dragging it with you everywhere you go and it slows you down. And that was the most important lesson. And after that, after realizing there is no box, then my ability to creatively deal structure really started skyrocketing. So the question is, do you want to be more successful? Well, you're on the call, so the answer is yes. So all you got to do is find more people to help, and you have to find more problems to solve. That's all you do. You up your numbers. And what's the fastest, cheapest, and most effective way to help people, to find people to help and problems to solve? Real simple. Knocking on a homeowner's door. Face to face. It's what you've heard me say before. I don't know what you're thinking. Lions and tigers and bears, right? Terrified. And you've heard all the stories. Okay? Lots of stories. Guns, dogs, arrests, naked women at doors. Well, let me tell you something. I have spent since 1972 until today, 53 years, I have made my living knocking on homeowners' doors and being invited in. It's all I've ever done, 53 years. And so you can listen to people tell the stories who've never done it, or you may want to listen to me who have spent 53 years doing this, more than five decades doing this. And if you're a woman, you may say, well, if I'm a woman, I can't go knock on the door. Well, that is me in the picture with hair. And the woman next to you is my mother, who you just saw walk out. My mother sold Electrolux vacuums door to door for 28 years. So when I was 9, when we had just moved back to the States from Thailand, she she got a job with Electrolux selling vacuums. And so I grew up around this. The conversations were about this. And what I've learned is people are kind and they're nice and they're terrific and they do come to the door. You don't get cops called on you. I've never had a gun pulled on me in my life. And I did have like 2 naked women answer the door one time, but both of them you wish to God they had not, because you can't unsee something like that. It's not what you think like in the movies. So it's just not what you think. Anyway, so for decades, I've taken groups of 60 investors out at a time door knocking. So they go with me. So I'm in the one at the door. They're just standing in the yard behind me. And with each group I've ever done this with, and this is all across the country, I tell them when we go out today, and I say this before we go out, 3 things will happen. First, we'll make between 5 and 10 written offers today. And this is in a neighborhood I've never been in, and nobody's ever allowed to tell me about the neighborhood, because I want people to see where I get my information from. And I get my information from homeowners and tenants in the neighborhood. That's how I learn about a neighborhood. And in one day, and shoot, in 4 hours and knocking doors in a neighborhood, I can tell you more about that neighborhood than people who live in the neighborhood, because my information is coming from the people who are there, and I can put it all together, assimilate it. And remember, I told you when investors call me up and they're not making it, I ask 2 questions. How many written offers have you made in the last 30 days? 0. How many written offers have you made in the last 12 months? Less than 10. When I take groups of 60 people out door knocking, we'll make between 5 and 10 written offers that day. When I'm going out by myself, usually it's going to be between 10 and maybe 15 written offers a day. That's just typical. Next thing I tell them is going to happen is we'll find between 1 and 3 shadow sellers. And a shadow seller is someone who's going to put their house on the market, and they're going to put their house on the market in the next 12 months, but it's not on the market yet. No sign in the yard. No one knows about it except for the person's door you knocked on, or maybe their neighbors. And the neighbors will point you to Fred, who's getting ready to relocate to Florida, or to Cindy, who's pregnant with twins and needs to move to a bigger house. The third thing that's going to happen, and this is going to blow your mind, when I take groups of 60 people outdoor knocking with me, they're standing in the yard behind me. I'm at a house. I'm talking to the owner, talking to the seller. There's a for sale sign in the yard. Ready for this? 8 out of 10 sellers will invite us in, all of us, all 60 of us. 80% of the time, if I talk to a seller at the door, I get in, whether it's listed as a FSBO or with a realtor, does not matter. I've done this for decades. I've done it all over the country. We don't get arrested. We don't get shot at. We don't have dogs attack us. But again, I've learned what to do over the course of 5 decades. So when you're going to a house for sale, think more like a yard sale. If you've ever been to a yard sale, you have no problem. You see the sign that says sale. You pull to the curb, you get out of your car, you walk down the driveway, you say hi, and the people having the yard sale go hi, and it couldn't be more friendly. And it's the same way when their house is for sale. There really is no difference. Or if their car was for sale in their yard, or there's a boat for sale in the yard, they couldn't be more kind because they have something they no longer want. And to put, my money where my mouth is, and this year, I'm in the process of making 1,000 written offers. Now, some of them will be with me making loans to people, or doing option work, or buying houses, or master leasing. But I'm making 1,000 written offers this year. And I'm posting these offers in video format, 25 offers to a video. And it'll be on my website, billandkimcook.com. It's free. You can go look at it. By the end of this month, I should put the first group of 25 up. I've done 65 written offers now this year, and I've done 6 deals. And as of today at 1:30, 7 deals. And if you are interested in learning more about door knocking, I have a good manual. It's about 100 pages. It's everything I know about door knocking, where you stand, how to knock on the door. Do you ring the bell? What if it's a ring doorbell? What do you wear? But it's also about offer making, meaning how do you do a T-bar? How do you make a teeter-totter offer? What do you say at the kitchen table? What should you have with you? This offer you'll find on my website at Bill and Kim Cook is $197. If you order it, we'll mail it to you as a hard copy. And again, there's I can tell you that this is the best door knocking book for real estate investors on the market. And the reason why is it's the only door knocking book that I know of for real estate investors on the market. So it's everything I've learned over the 5 decades. So let's come to this property.
Hey, Bill, I can testify for that as well. I got that book at one of the auctions and read it on the way home on the plane. And I've made all of my acquisitions people in all of my different companies that acquire anything read that book because I think there's a lot of valuable stuff in that book. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you. And I appreciate you saying that, Tommy. You're looking now in the background is the house that I'm in right now. And this house was found through door knocking. And Kim found this one too. She was driving through this neighborhood. So Kim came to me when a friend of mine named Ed Taylor said, come down to Venice. This was after one of the hurricanes. Blue tarps are on all the roofs, lots of option work to do here. And so we came down for that, but Kim fell in love with Venice, Florida, which is just south of Sarasota, Florida, which is just south of St. Pete and Tampa. So in this case with this house, Kim found the house or she said that I want to live in Venice. I want to live in Pelican Point in Venice. And when you turn in, the subdivision is a pretty good size subdivision. She said, when you pull in and go to the clubhouse, I want you to turn left. There's 3 streets to the right-hand side. On any of those 3 streets is where I want my home. That's narrowing it down pretty good, wouldn't you say? And so she was actually working in the neighborhood and she saw a lady in the yard and Kim just stopped and said, do you know of anyone who's thinking about selling, looking for shadow sellers? And the lady, her name is Chris, said no. And she said, maybe the lady down the street. And Kim just kept talking to her. And the lady said, would you like to see the inside of my house? It's beautiful. Again, her house was not for sale. So Kim went in, was in there, sat down on the lanai. Lanai is another word for back porch, but you can charge $30,000 more for the house if you call it a lanai rather than the back porch, just so you know. So they sat on the lanai, they talked, and Kim said, if you ever think about selling, just let us know. I love your house. It's perfect. So that's how this house was found. Now, a couple things, and again, some of this stuff I'm going to repeat. This deal was found, but it really wasn't. It was structured. When Kim found it, there was no unconscionable situation. But when she was talking to this lady, when they were done, Kim sent her a thank you note that said, hey, if you ever think about selling, I loved your house. Of all the houses I've seen, it was by far my favorite. I love your house. And 3 months later, the seller called us. Their situation had changed and they needed to sell their house and move, but they didn't want to move or sell their house until they found a place to buy. So let's look at the T-bar. So when Kim got the phone call from the sellers, we went and met with the now sellers, and this is what they said. They wanted to move to Vermont because they're in their late 80s and their daughter lived up there and they were going to move close to the daughter. And he was having trouble physically getting around and they were not sure how long it would take to find a house in Venice because it was wintertime. It was going into wintertime. And in talking to them, one of the things he let me know was they have a bed bug problem they didn't know how to deal with. They had a bed bug problem. That's the problem. So they wanted to sell their house, but they had to take care of the bed bug problem first, and they couldn't list it until they got this solved. But one of the things, if they did have bed bugs, on the disclosure they gave a realtor, it would have to say, we recently treated our house for bed bugs. And most realtors are not real fond of trying to sell a house that just had bed bugs. And they understood all this. So this is potential position. And I've got to think about how can I buy their house? And the main thing was, I'm not scared of the bed bugs. And he wanted to sell his house for his asking price in 2022, which was $580,000. The thing is, the house is only worth $540,000. This is where creative deal structuring comes in. What if all I did was make a big damn hammer offer to him of $380,000 all cash? No way we would have gotten this deal. He wanted more than the house is worth, but because we knew how to creatively structure, we could put this offer together. And so he just needed time. He wanted to buy his house first, wherever it was going to be, and then he'd sell us his house. And I said, we can go as fast or as slow as you want. So now I understand the problem, and I had to come up with tools to make it work. So what you're looking at, if you think you need to use fancy contracts, this was done on November the 19th. That's my handwritten offer to him. And almost always these days, all I do is ask for some paper and I handwrite my offer just like what you're seeing, and I use bullets to explain. And so the address, if y'all want to look this property up, you can. The address is 1106 Highland Greens Drive in Venice, Florida. And we bought the house like a month ago. So anyway, my offer to them is we'll pay you your asking price that you want of 580, which is 540,000 more than the house was worth fair market value. But with bed bugs, because very few buyers would come along, more than likely they would have been able to sell their house for about 490. So we paid almost 100,000 too much for this house. Why would we do that? And the why was Kim loved the house. Kim, this is our forever home. Kim loved the house. I didn't care about paying too much, but in paying too much, I had to get terms. And so what was agreed to is when we bought the property, once again, you're seeing a subject to deal at work. So we're going to leave their mortgage in place. We now own the house. Mortgage stays in their name. We're going to make the mortgage payments. And the mortgage was a 30-year mortgage they took out in 2022, 3.1% 30-year fixed. Try to get that if we were trying to buy a house. Right now, the mortgage would get as homeowners probably 6.5%. We're picking one up 3 years seasoned for 3.1%. And we did have to come out of pocket a lot of cash, which was $305,000. We agreed to pay the closing cost. You don't have to fix or clean anything, and we'll treat your bed bug problem. So when you look at this, I don't know if this is recorded or not, but come back and look at the offer I made on the right-hand side, and that's what you're looking at. And by the way, we had a lot of back and forth. We met with them over 20 times over 6 months. And they said yes, they said no. They said yes, they said no. Over 20 times we met face to face with them. And when we bought the property, this is the deal we went with. Just like you read right now, this is how we bought it. And here we are securing the mortgage because once they agreed to it, this was back in February, and we thought it may be a year before they found a house to buy. So I got an option. It was a 5-year option. So we could buy the property anytime over the next 5 years. So we were the exclusive buyers. It was to be a subject to deal. So a pure option at work again, secured it with a mortgage because that's what you got to use in Florida. And the thing was, what drove this entire deal, why didn't they list with a realtor? Number one is they would have sold it for less. They would have had to get their house in sellable condition. But more than anything else, what drove this deal was my little friend, Mr. Bedbug. And by the way, I did not know the first thing about bed bugs. In 35 years of owning rental property, I'd never had bed bugs. And I got on YouTube for 2 days, learned everything there was to know about bed bugs. I treated the bed bugs. It cost me $90. We did not have to heat the house like you always see. There's a chemical called Firefox or fire something, and it only kills bed bugs and the larvae of bed bugs. Doesn't harm anything else, but it destroys bed bugs. And I came and I sprayed the house, and it got rid of all the bed bugs. Kim and I are in it right now. No more bed bugs. And so on April the 16th, so about a month ago, we closed on our home. So there's the warranty deed showing that we just bought the property. And my wife is so happy. She's the happiest woman in the world because she's now living in a forever home. It has the world's greatest lanai you've ever seen. And she is just ever so happy. So that's what made this deal work. And you should also know, on the day before we bought this house, another house went on the market on the same street, 9 doors that way. And I stopped because Kim told me about it, and I put a T-bar offer in the door. Nobody answered. I talked to the neighbors. Turns out the people were in Canada. They were not coming back down, and they wanted to sell their home. They had just put it on the market the day before. So I put a T-bar offer in the door. And the next day, after we closed on our house that you see behind me, I went and called the realtor after the closing. We met with the realtor at the house. It was going to be sold fully furnished. It was beautiful. I showed it to my mother on FaceTime. My mother drove out the next day, looked at it. We put an offer in. The next day, the offer was accepted. And at 1:30 Eastern time, we're going to be in Chad Gates's office. My mother is buying that house that also came from door knocking. Tell me door knocking doesn't work. Please, someone. And by the way, she's paying 540 for that house and actually 545 with the furniture. And they probably have 40 to 50,000 worth of furniture. When I say furniture, I mean plates, dishes, sheets, they walked away not knowing they're not coming back. Everything is there for my mother and it's absolutely designer beautiful. And the reason why she's paying full retail and not doing any type of creative structure is sometimes the why is more important than the how much. And her why is she just turned 90 and she's gonna be living 9 doors away from me on the same street that way. That's the why. And so we close on that at 1:30. So that's what's going on. So there's so much you haven't seen of deal structuring, and we barely scratched the surface of advanced creative deal structuring, and you only saw a couple tools at work, and you barely even looked at any paperwork if you looked at any. And if you want to see the full picture, I'm teaching a course, and this will be a week after Thomas's deal makers course that he's teaching, but it's going to be in Tampa, Florida, or on Zoom. It's called Whatbox. Now, I told you where Whatbox came from, Whatbox 2025. And it's going to include a 280-page detailed manual, along with, you'll get all my documents to come with it. The event's recorded, so you can go back and watch it. It's $597, that's early bird discount. You can bring a guest for $397. And to register, go to billingkimcook.com. And with that, Thomas, I am finished. I'm happy to take any questions you want.
All right, cool. Any more
That
questions?
was awesome, Bill. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Let me stop sharing.
Hey, the only thing I was thinking about, Bill, is that you've brought a completely new meaning to say hello to my little friend.
No, really. I just want y'all to know. I don't want y'all to think about bed bugs. So make sure you're not thinking about bed bugs right now, because if you do, you're going to start scratching and itching and get the heat. And I don't want that to happen. And by the way, if any of y'all want to come visit, you're welcome to come visit. You can stay with us. There's one room I didn't treat. That'll be the room you're in. So
Oh, we have had them, and we had to find the exact same solution that you found. We've done everything. We found so many different things to be able to get rid of them through the years.
Well, that stuff I got, that chemical stuff I used, they killed, but I mean, it just flat ass worked. One treatment, done.
Yeah, that's
Ask everybody, if you've met Bill and Kim Cook in person, where did you meet them? Type it into the chat.
Yeah. We've met him at Investor Addicts.
And if you haven't,
Please don't say in the ship's
Whatbox.
brig. Please don't say in jail.
You need to get the Whatbox in September if you haven't. If you have, you'll be back.
Yeah.
There you go. A lot of people met you at Whatbox. Reeal, Deal Maker, they're rolling in now, Bill. I love it. Investor Addicts, that's a fun one. Right, Tom?
Yes, sir.
We love Investor Addicts. That's the best cruise. In fact,
I can't wait to go again.
I want y'all to know why getting together with other investors is so important. Why you want to be around other people, why you want to attend the events. The reason why you want to go to Tom's event and be there in person is when we were on the cruise, when we got to Coco Cay, another friend of ours, also a Tom, he had rented a cabana. I think it was like $1,800 to rent a cabana for the day. And I'm like, what a stupid waste of money. And there were about 4 or 5 of us that got together and spent the day in that cabana. And, Tom Olson was there. A couple other friends of mine were there. And they really kicked my butt about me not doing commercial property. I'm a door knocker, but I never go to commercial businesses. I mean, they really laid into me. But as I start door knocking, I'm now going to be doing commercial businesses. And they helped me see a flaw in the way I work and what I was doing. And I was using limited thinking. And I appreciate Tom Olson for basically giving me a kick in the ass. I needed it, and I'm very grateful.
Love it. So there you go, Cabana Mastermind. Who is?
Yeah, that's what Cabana Mastermind.
Me and Bill were talking yesterday.
Next time.
Yeah, I mean, me and Bill were talking yesterday, and I think we both agreed that was probably one of the most valuable days of our whole. Honestly, like any I've been in masterminds, spent probably almost $1 million in masterminds and traveling and things through the years. And that one day was probably just as valuable, if not more valuable, than any other day.
Well, Tom Barry will do that because I met Tom Barry in person the first time many years ago on an island off of Cozumel. And the four of us had a really awesome day. It was like a mastermind that day too, Tom. And I haven't forgotten that as well. So there's a key denominator there for sure.
Well, Jim, when I came to your deal maker event like 2 months ago,
Yeah.
Tom Barry was there, so I went up to him and I handed him $400, and it's to cover my share. I said that was such an important thing. I want to pay him for my portion of being there, and he said, "What's this for?" And there were about 10 people around him. I said, "That dancing you did, man, it was fantastic, and to take off your clothes like that, geez, worth all $400 bills." And I walked away. So I don't know what's happened to Tom since then, but it did not help his reputation. Joseph, you got a question? What's up?
What's up, viejo? How are you?
Good, good, my friend.
Quick question. All right, so let's say, I mean, that it's not going to happen, but let's say you have a scenario where you have to involve your insurance policy, right?
In what you got to give me in the condition,
Oh, yeah,
an
a flood.
option or that own the house.
A flood. The house got flooded in. Now you have to involve.
Do I own the house or do I have an option on the house?
No, your scenario, the Venice. You're doing a sub 2,
Okay.
right? And let's say Hurricane Kim comes by, right? And then of course now you have to involve the insurance company. How do you maneuver around that so it doesn't trigger the actual lender?
Okay, so if I own the home, my house sustains
sub two.
damage,
Sub
and
2.
it's a sub 2 deal.
Yeah.
When I bought the property, I make sure right after closing is done, I cancel the owner's insurance policy. It's no good anymore. He no longer has an insurable interest. My policy goes into effect. So I now have, like on this house we're in right now, this is a sub 2 deal. So this house we're in right now, my mortgage on it is 3.1%, but Lynn is the man, is his name on it. But on my policy also, the mortgagee is listed. So his lender is named on the policy. Does that make sense? And so if there is something that goes wrong, I call my insurance company and say, "Hey, we had a flood." And they'll come in and they fix the damage. And the insurance company, they just want to make sure there's insurance on the property. We're good to go. And I've been doing sub 2 deals, by the way, since 98. And our horse ranch we had for 19 years, that was a sub 2 deal. This is now our second home. We've been in a motorhome the last 7 years, living in a motorhome full time. So this is now our second house. Happens to be another sub 2 deal, and insurance is fine.
So you get your insurance and then you cancel theirs. It doesn't trigger anything to the lender.
But again, you got to know what you're doing. Sub 2
Right.
deals are not, you can't go watch YouTube videos like I did bed bugs and know how to do sub 2 deal. Go to someone who teaches a really great class on subject to deals. I'm sure in deal makers, Jim, you have someone that you recommend that does a lot of sub 2 deals, correct? Teaching?
I mean, I really like Jeff Watson. Courtney Fricky just did some last weekend. And
Yeah, I was in Courtney's class this past Saturday. Jeff Watson was there and Pete Fortunato was there. So Courtney Fricky has a really good class. I've got her book sitting right behind. I now have a bookshelf again. I'm so excited. I get to bring all my Miller books. And next time you see me, when I get to go home to Cartersville and unload our storage thing, that's going to be full of Jack Miller and Pete Fortunato and Dyke Spotiford books.
You know what? That's exactly what I want to do as well.
All right. Well, thank you, Bill. I really do appreciate you investing in our community today. It was really good.
Virtual round of applause and high fives for Bill Cook.
And
Your awesome wife, we said hello.
And again, you got some great leaders on this call. Again, you got Tom Olson and you got Jim Ingersoll and you got Augie Bylot and you got Chuck Glover. And I just saw who you have on the call next month. Just so you know, my buddy Reggie Lau, and he and I have been friends for a very long time. So you got Reggie Lau there in the bottom left-hand corner. Reggie helped me buy this house. I was $75,000 light of having the 340. It turns out the money I needed over $300,000. So Reggie made me a loan, and again, it's secured to this house. But Reggie is one of the ones that made that loan. And again, Jeff Watson's been a good friend of mine. You got some good people. You got Chuck that's going to be on this call, and he's just too pretty to be pictured. If you see Chuck's picture, you just go crazy, and they don't want that to happen. But I'm sure Chuck's picture will get up here quickly.
Well, Chuck's going to be in Africa. My team actually already did change a picture with Chuck in it, but I'm like, let's just hold off because Chuck's going to be on a drop with Augie Bylot. I'm not sure if that whole thing's going to work or not with Chuck, but if he can be on it, I'm sure Chuck would be on it. and where he's more than welcome to be on it if he can be. So
Yeah, so be on this June 17th call because those are some heavy hitters. And again, you'll love Reggie. The first time I met Reggie was in California at a mastermind, and he and Danielle flew back with us to Atlanta after a week-long mastermind. And then we drove up to Kentucky to another mastermind. We were there for a few days. Then we were still liking each other so much. We drove and went down the east coast of America, from North Carolina down, and ended up at David Tilney's house in Naples, Florida. So we were together for about a month and a half after, I had heard of Reggie in California, but he was a West Coast guy. I'm an East Coast guy. And when we met, just got along. So you'll love Reggie. Smart guy.
How would you guys rate today's Zoom on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being like Bill hit it out of the park, of course. 10 for me.
I would
Thank
give
you
it
very much.
I need more fingers to go
give him a
higher.
13.
Hey, careful how many fingers go up, by the way.
Well, thank
Grab
you, everybody.
coffee. Early coffee tomorrow morning, Bill, my place.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Appreciate you guys very much.
Love y'all.
Yeah. Thank you guys again for being on the call today. Let your friends know about the Dealmaker community. We got lots of stuff going on. I'm excited about everything that the Dealmaker community stands for and the direction we're going, Jim's leadership, the 20 something groups we've got around the country that just started a year and a half ago. This is really excited to be a part of. And thank you, Bill, really for investing in our community today. You're welcome to come back any month, just so you know. Just thanks for Jim, and thanks for all the people that are going to be on the next call in June. With that, we'll sign off here for today, but we will see you guys next time. Have a good day.
Love you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tom.